Hello children and welcome to the session today. Children, you and I are able to see each other today because there is light in this room and probably because there is light coming out of your screen on which you're watching this video. For a minute, just imagine if there were no light, then what would happen? We are not going to see anything. We can switch on or switch off an electric bulb or a tube light, and we can light up the entire room or darken it. If you look at the difference between us and the electric bulb, it is clear. An electric bulb has got light of its own. The reason? Because when you switch it on, it produces light. But there is no switch on us that can produce light. So what are we dependent on? We are dependent on the light of the electric bulb, or when we go out of the house, the light of the sun. Because when this light falls on us, we are visible to each other. So children, light is a form of energy that we are going to study today in this session. Chapter number 17, light. So what is light? Light is a form of energy and it contains radio waves, X-rays, ultraviolet rays and infrared rays. Amazingly, all these are invisible to the human eye. What is visible to the human eye? It is the visible light. It is the light which makes us see each other. Now, based on what we have just discussed, so we know that there are different sources of light which lighten up all of us. What are these sources of light? There are natural sources. What are the natural sources? They are the sun, the star, even the fireflies called Jugnu in Hindi. And there are artificial sources of light. What are these? These are lights, candles, lamps, the campfire that we light up in summers when we go on a vacation or in winters to keep us warm. Then there are the torches and the laser torches that we like to play with. What are all these? All these are artificial sources of light. So children, based on these, we can also say that there are two kinds of objects around us. The objects, both natural and man-made, that have light of their own are known as luminous bodies. So sun is a luminous body, a matchstick is a luminous body, a candle is also a luminous body. And the objects that shine with the light of luminous objects and have no light of their own are called non-luminous objects. So children, human beings and even the moon is a non-luminous object because we also reflect the light that falls on our body. Similarly, the moon also reflects the light that falls on it from the sun. So these are luminous and non-luminous objects. Children, we know that the sun is a source of both heat and light. So, the light that is falling on us is hot light. But the light that we are reflecting is not hot light because we are absorbing the heat. So, the light that we reflect is cool light. Even the moon light is cold and pleasant because the light that it reflects back is cool. Similarly, we just learnt about the fireflies. Even the fireflies give out cold light from their body because this light has got no heat of its own. So, we are talking about light coming to our body, going from our body. How does this light travel? This light travels in a straight line, and this process is known as rectilinear propagation of light, which means that light travels in a straight line. And we can prove this with the help of an experiment. One experiment has been given in your book, which you can do very, very easily in your classroom. Another experiment we are going to show you through a video. Fix a lighted candle on a table. Look at the candle through a straight rubber tube with one eye. Keep the other eye closed. You will be able to see the candle flame. Next, bend the rubber tube in the middle and try looking at the candle flame through it. You're not able to see it. We can thus conclude that light travels in a straight line. This is also called rectilinear propagation of light. So children, the experiment proves that light travels in a straight line. Now, how fast does light travel? What is the speed of light? We know that the formula for speed is equal to distance upon time, where distance is measured in kilometer and time is in seconds. So children, given in your book is the distance of the sun from the earth in kilometers. And here the time for sunlight to reach the earth is 8 minutes 20 seconds. If you convert the whole into seconds, you get the figure 500. Now dividing distance upon time, we get the figure 3 into 10 raised to the power 8 meter per second. So what is the speed of light? It is 3 into 10 raised to the power 8 meter per second. Similarly, we can also calculate the distance from moon to earth and the speed of light and the time it will take for the moonlight to reach the earth. Children, light always travels in a straight line. Now, how do we represent it? We represent it with a straight line that has got an arrowhead on it. So, as you can see, this is a ray of light. When we have to show many rays of light traveling together, we show them as a parallel beam. Now, when we have to show the light coming from a source of light and hitting an object, it becomes a convergent beam, which is shown like this. And for example, if we have to show the light being reflected back, so how do we show? We show it as a divergent beam. Having talked about all this now, let us talk about reflection of light. So when light falls on a surface, it bounces off the surface and this is known as reflection of light. So the word reflect means to bounce back. Now how does light bounce back? Let us see at the pictures in your book. So here are given 3 surfaces. So first surface is a transparent subject. Now this transparent object is not going to let any light come back from it. Why? Because it is transparent. In case of unpolished wood, which is an opaque substance or an opaque object, the minute the light will fall on it, it will absorb the light. That is why it is visible. But in case light falls on a polished surface like a mirror, what happens to the light? The light is bounced back. Now, in case of the mirror where reflection takes place, we need to understand a few terms. So, the first is the perpendicular line at the mirror, which is known as the normal. So, if we look at this particular picture of the plane mirror, there are 3 different things that we can see here. So, the light of ray that is falling on the mirror is known as the incident ray. The light that is reflected from the mirror will be known as reflected ray. Now, here at this point where the light falls, we create a straight line or a perpendicular. This is known as the normal. The angle that the incident ray makes with the normal is known as angle of incidence, and the angle which the reflected ray makes with the normal is known as the angle of reflection. Now, based on this, there are 2 laws of reflection. These 2 laws are, number 1, that the angle of incidence is always going to be equal to the angle of reflection. And number 2, as you can see, the incident ray, the normal and the reflected ray will lie on the same plane together. That means if they are on this side of the mirror, all 3 will be here only. Now mirrors are also of two kinds. As you can see here, this is a plane mirror. A plane mirror is represented like this. And the second kind of mirror is a spherical mirror, which is represented in this way. Now a plane mirror produces an upright virtual image. The image is of the same size as that of the object, and the distance of the image formed behind the mirror equals the distance of the object in front of the mirror. So a plane mirror is the same mirror that we use at home. If you've ever played this game, if you try and move closer to the mirror, the image on the other side will appear to move closer. If you move away from the mirror, it will appear that the image in the mirror is also moving away from the mirror. So, these characteristics. But one thing that you would have noticed is that if you raise your right hand in front of the mirror, your left hand appears to be raised in the mirror. Why? Because of lateral inversion. So whatever you do in front of the mirror, your opposite body part will appear to do the same in the mirror. That is why if you have noticed, the word ambulance is written in a laterally inverted form in front of the ambulance. Why? Because when you are driving and you look into your rear mirror, you will see the word ambulance laterally inverted. Since it's already inverted here, you will see the word ambulance correctly in your rear view mirror. So this is the practical application or use of plane mirror. They are also used to look at yourself. So you're used as looking glasses. Then they are also used to maintain a set of distance of the chart for testing eyesight. And they are also used to get multiple images of the same object. Now, how do multiple images form? The multiple images are formed because of reflection. And as we have read in the previous class also, reflection is of two kinds. So if you see this image in your book, it shows regular reflection. Regular reflection means the light rays are coming from one direction and they are being reflected in another direction. And all the light rays are being reflected in the same direction. Here, in case of irregular reflection, we can see that although the light rays are coming from the same direction, they are reflected in multiple directions. So, this is irregular reflection, and it is because of reflection that we can see objects around us. Based on the principle of multiple reflection is an optical device which is known as kaleidoscope. So children, how does this device work? It works on the principle of multiple reflection created by mirrors inside it. And where is this device used? It is used in order to guide the designers for creating new patterns of rugs, wallpapers and fabrics. There is a similar device called a periscope, which is also an optical device. Now, what does this device do? It enables a viewer to observe objects from a distance, also when the vision is blocked. So, where is a periscope used? A periscope is fitted to a battle tank and kept close to be safe against chemical weapons and gunfire. They are also used in nuclear reactors and laboratories where scientists use them to observe everything, keeping them quite safe and away from the danger. So these were the applications of reflection. Now let us understand the kind of spherical mirrors. A mirror whose smooth and polished reflecting surface is a curved surface is called a spherical mirror. Spherical mirrors are of two main types, concave mirror and convex mirror. In a concave mirror, the reflecting surface is curved inwards. In a convex mirror, the reflecting surface is curved outwards. If you cut a hollow rubber ball with a knife, the inner surface of the cut ball is called concave and the outer surface of the cut ball is called convex. Take a stainless spoon and polish it by rubbing it with a cotton cloth. If you bring the inner side, that is the front side of the spoon near your face and look into it, you will observe that the image of your face is erect and larger in size. If you move the spoon away from your face, you will see an inverted and enlarged image of your face. Turn the spoon and see your face in the back side of the spoon. You will observe that the image of your face is erect and diminished in size. Increase the distance of the spoon by moving it away from the face. The image of your face goes on decreasing. You can conclude that there is a change in the position, size and nature of the image formed in smooth curved surface with the changes in position of the object. Concave mirrors are used as shaving mirrors, makeup mirrors or reflectors in torches and headlight of vehicles and by dentists to see an enlarged image of teeth. Convex mirrors are used as rear view mirrors, side view mirror, as staircase mirrors on the double-decker buses. Children, we have learnt here how the images are formed by convex and concave mirror. And the word that comes again and again is real image and virtual image. So what is a real image? A real image can be obtained on a screen. It is always inverted. It is formed on the same side of the mirror as the object in front of it. And the size depends on the distance of the image from the mirror. A virtual image cannot be obtained on a screen. And it is always upright, that its correct end is always up. It is formed on the back side of the mirror and size depends on the type of mirror. In a plane mirror, smaller and larger in concave mirror. So children, that means that the image that we see in the looking glass in our house is not a real image, it is a virtual image. So in this chapter, you have learned so much about light, reflection, mirrors and images. Now time for you to turn back to the question and answers. Thank you.